Hey, thanks, Lakshmi.
Thanks, Remy. All yours. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hey, good evening, everyone. Okay. So I believe so we had a fantastic day last Friday. So we got to understand what is Cypress. So especially is a web automation framework is what something we understood, and mainly it is meant for modern web applications. And so we saw quite a lot of differences or like the main characteristics of this particular tool, and we compared with Selenium and tried to um, get certain features of Cypress. So especially it is meant for modern web apps wherein like we have certain elements like Angular or like React. So those kind of elements, we understood that. And we started off with a very simple script, right? So we understood the prerequisite. We installed something called Node.js, where Node.js is the main prerequisite if you want to work with Cypress, because Cypress is built on actually Node.js. It's a Node.js application, and it supports mainly JavaScript as its programming language, even though it is a core web automation testing framework, wherein like the application which we are going to test can be designed in any technology, but the test scripts are like as a tester, the test automation scripts what we are going to write, we will write in JavaScript or any compatible language which transpiles the content into JavaScript. So if you see, there is also a more related scripting language called TypeScript. We can use that also. Okay, so that is what we saw, and we understood how to create a simple test script. I believe you all have tried out that. We opened a simple Google page and saw like how it is opening using a very simple command cy.visit, right? So that is something that we saw the other day. And we also saw one more interesting feature, that whenever you make any changes to your test script, and if you save your test, Cypress will automatically start executing the script, and you can able to see the results in a separate place called test format, right? So that is something that we saw, and we can also what is that? Inherit that settings, right? So if I don't want that kind of feature, so we can able to inherit that, where we need to add a command, wait for watch for file changes as false in our Cypress settings file. So this is something what we saw the other day completely. We understood the Cypress architecture, all that we saw. Any questions before we move ahead and start off with today's content? So please let me know. And I assume that so you got enough time for you to set up the configurations, whatever we discussed. And so you have the platform ready, wherein like you have the Cypress framework ready, so that whatever we are going to start from now, you can able to practice. Right? Yes or no? You just confirm me, please. All good?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Amit.
Thank you so much. Okay. So today, okay, so let me pull up my test script, what we saw the other day. Just give me a second, I'll just open the file. Okay, I'll quickly share the screen. Just give me a moment. Okay, just let me know if you can able to see my screen.
Yeah.
Right, sure. Okay, so this is something that we saw. We created two files, what we call as a spec file, right? And spec is nothing but test cases, right? I created with the name spec, and this is the way like how to create a test case in Cypress. You can give the name of the file .cy. cy represents it's a Cypress file, and we are creating a JavaScript file. So that is why it says .js. Right, and we understood how to create a test case. We use something called as a it block, right? We will write something like it. This is something that we have created. So it is a block which actually comes from a framework called Mocha. Right, I told you Mocha is a framework using which we can create test cases, and we actually take the functionality of Mocha here. Describe. Describe is mainly for creating test suites. That means inside describe, I can have multiple it blocks, right? So that and all we'll see today, how to create multiple test cases and as run as a test suite, all that we will see, right? So before we actually jump into all that, so we also need to understand how to locate elements in Cypress. So as like in Selenium, so we have various locators, right? So we use, we basically depends on the HTML DOM. Whenever you have any website at the background, so that website will actually have a HTML code. So this is what we call as a HTML DOM. We call it as a document object model. Right, in Selenium, what we will do, so we will inspect and try to find a locator, a unique locator using which we can able to locate the element. Right, in Selenium, we have various locators like we have ID, we have name, we have something like XPath, CSS selector, right, and various locators like link text, tag name. We can use a lot of locators, right? So similarly, in Cypress also, we have something called locators, right? As you all are aware, Cypress is a tool which is mainly used to automate a modern web-based application, right? So like Selenium, Cypress also use locator concept to locate the GUI elements from the application, right? So a unique identification of elements in Cypress is identified with the help of something called as jQuery selectors, which is basically derived from CSS selector. Okay, so you don't want to worry about what is this. I believe you have a fair idea about what is CSS selector. In Selenium, we use a locator called CSS selector, right? So here, Cypress actually supports only CSS selector as a locator. This is a major difference when you come from a Selenium background. Please understand. Here, we may not be able to directly use any other locators as like in Selenium. Cypress supports only CSS selector. Right. But here, we can use the CSS selector with different combinations. I'll show you all that. You don't want to worry. Right. So generally, how to locate an element? Say, for example, if you want to locate any element in Cypress, right? If you want to locate any element in Cypress, we generally use an object called cy. We have seen this, and we have also used one command, one method, that is visit. If I want to open a URL, we need to say .visit. So similarly, if I want to locate any element, I need to simply say cy.get. Right, and this is how we will create. Okay, and what is the syntax for get? It is something like this. We will say cy.get, and we will use our selector here. Right. So whatever selector we are going to use, this will locate the element. locate the element from the HTML DOM. Right. So now, as I told you already, the selector, what we are going to write. Okay. So here, Cypress supports only CSS selector. CSS selector. And we are more interested to know about the CSS selector here. When we talk about the categories, see in CSS selector, there are a few categories which you need to understand. What are the categories using which you can locate an element? The first category is ID. And the second category is class. ID, class, attribute, substring. These are all the categories. Okay. The major categories, what we generally use. You can just make a note of this. I'll give you an example for all this. Just accept whatever I'm saying. Because in any test automation tool or in any test automation framework, locating the elements is something which is very, very important. Right? Unless or until you know how to locate an element, you may not able to move forward in automation, right? So that is something like where even in Selenium, from your experience, you might have got confused. A lot of times you don't know like how to create your XPath. We have to depend on certain inbuilt framework using which you can able to get the XPath or like the CSS selector, anything, right? And when we talk about the Cypress locator with CSS selector, these are the four major things that you need to understand. Right. So the very first thing we will talk about the CSS selector ID. Right. What is this ID? So ID locator is mainly used to identify the element using this ID attribute. That means the element what you're going to locate in the HTML DOM, that element should have an ID property. Then only you can able to use this CSS selector ID. This selector you can able to use only if that element has a ID attribute. Right. Okay. I'll take an example. Say for example, in my application, see I have a HTML tag like this. Let's assume that I'll say there is a button which has a property like ng-click equal to let's say do addition. Right, and it has a ID equal to let's say some go button, right, and it also has a class equal to let's say button, right, and these are the properties, and we have the element something like this. Go. This is the element, and it is a button where I say slash button. So this is a simple HTML code, right? So if you don't understand this, so this go is a button in one application where this is the opening tag of the button and this is the closing tag, and this button has few attributes, right? So this is attribute number 1, ng_click, right, or ng-click. So this kind of attributes you might have not encountered in Selenium. So this ng_ or this ng- will come only in a modern web-based application. So if you take a classical application, you will not get this kind of properties, but ID, class and all will be there. But you will not get something like ng. Ng, if it has an attribute something like ng, then that means it is an Angular based application. Then only you will have this ng-. Right. So I am just taking such an example. So let's say ng-click. This is the property that I have. Right. So now suppose if I want to locate this go button, how do I write a CSS selector? I can simply say cy.get I can give the selector like this in single quote or double quotes, whatever you can use. Suppose if I want to refer ID, ID can be referred in CSS using a hash, right? I can simply say hash and I can give the ID value, go button. That's it. This is how I can locate the element. Now, automatically what Cypress will do, Cypress will locate this element using this ID. Hope you're getting this. Right. I'll show you. I'll take a real example. I will take a similar example and I will write a program for you, but just try to understand. If you want to locate an element using ID, then you need to use hash. Hash represents ID. The moment you use hash, Cypress can now able to understand that you are referring to the ID property of this element, and it will check which element has an ID value as go button from your HTML DOM. And it can now able to uniquely locate this element. Right? Is this clear? Yes, no?
Yes, Rami.
Yes, Amit.
Yeah.
One question, Rami, here. What happens if there are multiple go button code in the application?
Yeah. See, that generally happens. When you have multiple go buttons, right, you need to find a unique locator. See, normally if you see 99.9%, if it has an ID property, if any element has an ID property, that ID value will always be unique. No two elements will have same ID. So it is always preferred. As I told you, ID, class, attribute, substring. See, these are all the locators using which what you can do. You can try to locate the element. But if you have an ID property for that element, then always go with the ID property. 99.9% it works. Suppose if in case there is a rare chance that it may not work, because like what you are saying, let's assume that we got an application from a smart developer where he have created two elements which has same ID. Definitely, the parent will be different. What you can do is you can create your locator from your parent tag. In that way, you need to write a unique statement or a unique selector which locates the go button what you are referring to. What am I explaining is, let's assume that this is the root and I have a go button here and I have a go button here. Let's assume that this go button also has the same ID. This also has the same ID. Let's say the ID is go button. Generally, this will not be the case. If in case this was the case, let's assume that this is how the HTML tag comes. Right? This is the root tag. These are all the parent tags. Okay. Now, suppose if I want to locate this go button, I need to refer from its parent and refer from its parent. See, this parent are totally different. So if you try to refer from its parent, say for example, if I want to locate this go button, I need to refer this parent. And from this parent come downwards and say, this has an ID. I will show you how to do that. And similarly, if you want to locate this element, you need to refer from this parent. You're getting what I'm saying? Getting some idea? Yeah. Okay. Now moving ahead, we'll see how to locate from this class. Now, let's take the same example. This element also has a class. Okay. Now, if I want to locate with the help of class, I can simply say cy.get. Again, single quote. If you want to refer a class, you need to put a dot. See, this is the major difference. If you want to refer an ID, you need to use hash. If you need to refer with a class attribute, you need to put a dot. Dot btn. That's it. Now what will happen? You are referring the same go button, but here we are using the ID selector. Here we are using the class selector. Hope you're getting. Yes, no?
Yes.
Right. So this is the major difference. Now we will see how to locate with this attribute. Attribute. So what is this attribute? Okay, let me take a different example. This is quite simple. I'll take another piece of HTML code, something like this, where I have an input tag. Input tag is nothing but a text box. Okay, this is a button. I will take an input tag where it has another ng hyphen, let's say model. Ng hyphen model equal to, let's say first. Right, and type. See, as a tester, I don't want to really know what is this ng model equal to first. See, I don't want to get into the actual meaning of what is ng model. See, this comes from Angular. See, I am a tester. I need to know how to locate the element. I am interested to know more on how to make Cypress to work. I don't want to understand typically what is this property, why they have given first, all that. Right. The only thing what I need to understand is, okay, input, this is a tag name. Oh, ng model, this is the attribute. And this first, this is the value. This is something that I need to remember or I need to understand. Right. So next attribute is, let's say type equal to text. Type equal to text. And I have, let's assume that there is a class for this element. Class equal to, let's say, something, let's say ABC. Okay, classes ABC, something like this I have. Okay, now I want to locate this element using what to say, like attribute. I want to use some attribute. So when I say attribute, what is an attribute? See, these are all attributes. This is one attribute. This is value 1. And this is attribute 2. Attribute 2, and for this attribute, this is the value. I'll say value 2, and this is the third attribute, attribute 3, and for this is the value 3. Okay, any HTML code, if you take, it will be like this only. You can take any web page. If you take, just simply right click, inspect, you will get a complete HTML code. You take any statement, it will be like this only. See, this input is nothing but the tag name, which will have attribute value. See, some tags will have only one attribute and value. Some tags will have more than one attributes. Right. Okay. Now, I want to refer the element with these attributes. I cannot directly say like cy.get ng model, something like this. It will not work because ng model is not a recognized attribute. Only ID and class are recognized, which has symbols like this. Okay, so don't assume that, okay, then ng model will also have one representation using which I can directly refer. No, that is where attribute play a role. If I want to refer with this kind of attributes, what I can do is I can write my statement like this: cy.get. cy.get. I'll say in single quote input. That means I'm starting with the input tag. Input tag, then put a square bracket. Okay, find all the input tag and check this attribute ng model. This is the attribute ng model equal to whether it has the value called first, and close the bracket, right? And close the single quotes, close the parenthesis. Now you see, it's quite simple, right? I'm trying to locate the element using an attribute here. What is the attribute? This is the attribute. Okay. I'm just filtering with the input tag. So when I say input, what Cypress will do from the entire web page, it will filter all the input tags. Okay. See, suppose this is my web page and here I have everywhere input tag. Let's assume that these are all input tags. Okay. Now, what it will do? It will filter all the input tag. From all the input tag, what I'm saying, I'm asking Cypress to check the ng model attribute. This will have an ng model. This will have an ng model. Let's assume that. This 4 elements has ng model as the attribute, and this 2 element doesn't have ng model. So it will skip. Now it will take this ng model. So now these 4 elements are selected, filtered. And from this, I'm saying check which ng model has a value first. Let's assume that this has first and this has second. This has third, this has fourth as the value. So now uniquely it will try to locate this element. You're getting what I'm saying? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yeah.
How to locate using attribute. This is the third one. So we saw how to select using ID, how to select using class, how to select using attribute. And the last one is substring. Okay. So this strategy mainly allows matching of partial string. And it is very useful when you have dynamic values. See, sometimes what happens is you will not get your HTML code like this. Always. See, every now and then, if you refresh your page, let's assume that this ID value will change. Let's assume that you will get, for the first time when you open, you will get go button 1, 2, 3. You refresh the page, again, go to the same location. The same go button will now say 2, 3, 4. Go button 2, 3, 4. Then the next time when you open, it will be like 5, 6, 7. See, the ID is random. It is dynamic. So in that case, I may not be able to locate like this. I cannot say hash go button or hash go button 1, 2, 3. This will come only one time. The next time when you open the application as a fresh instance, this ID won't be there. I'm not very sure how many of you have encountered this kind of problems in Selenium.
Yeah, we have. We use contains or start with.
Excellent. Same way, right? So here in Cypress, there are 3 ways in which CSS selector can be created based on matching the substring, right? Exactly like what you said. Okay. The first one is you can match a prefix, something like starts with. Starts with. Right. So what I can do is I can write a statement like this, cy.get. cy.get. I will say there is an input whose ID. You see now? Hash represents ID. Okay. So I'm just referring to this ID. So I will say hash ID where something like this, where its name or like, okay, this ID where its name, I will say the name is name dollar equal to name. Okay. What is this? What do you understand from this? One second. Okay, I will take a different example. Okay, let's use this. I will use my ID or something like this. Okay, so I will say input. Let's consider this piece of HTML code. Input ID equal to. I will write. It says user ID. User ID. where there is a class. Let's assume that class equal to something like, let's say, login, where there is a name equal to, let's say, username. Okay, and let's assume that this is the dynamic field. This keeps on changing. Username, and we have one more attribute. Let's say type equal to text. Okay, now you see, I'm saying cy.get input. Okay, and I'm just saying hash user ID. So let's say this is my user ID. Instead of ID, I would say hash user ID. So that means what it will do? It will filter all the input tag whose ID is user ID. You see now, suppose if there are multiple elements whose ID is user ID, it will take all these ID. Now I am just checking the attribute name. This is the name. Name dollar equal to is nothing but starts with. If you want to match with the starting character, you can use dollar equal to. Dollar represents starter. Oh, I'm sorry. This is not dollar. This is caret symbol. Caret equal to. 1 second. I will rewrite the statement. Just give me a second. I'll take a fresh page. I'm extremely sorry. Okay, so I'll just write the piece of code here. Let's say input. Let's take an example. Input, let's say ID equal to, let's say user ID, class equal to, let's say login, and let's say it has an attribute name equal to, let's say username, right? And it has a type equal to something like, let's say text. Okay, so this is the element. Now, if I want to match with the prefix starts with, this is substring. Substring has 3 methods. One is starts with. So in starts with, what we can do is I can simply say cy.get. I will say get all the input tag. You see now I'm just getting all the input tag which matches with the ID. I will say hash and the ID is, let's say, user ID. User ID. Now I am saying whose name. Suppose if I say equal to username, it is nothing but attribute selector. Let's assume that this username is going to get changed every time, right? So username 123, it will come. The next time username 456, it will come. But this user is the word which is always static. So I need to always say starts with this name. I will always say the name starts with. If you want to say starts with, you need to use a caret symbol equal to. And I will say it starts with this character user. Let's assume that this name is something which is dynamic every time. Okay, I will say user underscore, some name will come. I will simply say user underscore. That means this is starts with. That's it. Yeah, this is clear. This is clear now. This character is clear. This caret symbol equal to. Yes, no? Suppose let's assume that this part is static. This name is static and this user is always dynamic. Here the dynamic value comes. 1, 2, 3 name, 4, 5, 6 name. Then in that case, what I need to do? I need to say ends with. I may not able to use starts with because this value is always dynamic. So in that case, what I can do, I can simply say cy.get. I will say input hash user ID. I will say user ID, the name ends with, I need to say, if I want to say ends with, I need to say dollar equal to. Dollar represents ends. Ends with, I will say name. Name. This name is this one. Is this clear? Is this clear? Yes, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So similar to start with or ends with, there is also something called contains. I can also use contains. That means this character, somewhere it should be there. See, let's assume that this first two characters is always dynamic and the last two characters is always dynamic, but this in between ER, NA is always static. Right. So how to define? I may not be able to use start with or end with in that case. So I will say contain cy dot get. In this case, what I will do, I will simply say input. Input, I will say hash user ID. I will say the name should contain. If you want to say contain, that is star equal to. Star equal to, I will say ERNA. ERNA. So any user ID which has a name where it has ERNA, that word is there anywhere, then just go and recognize that element. This is contains. Is this clear? Yes, no?
Yep.
Right. So with this, what we will do? So we will slowly get into our examples.
One doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we locate that with text?
This one. Yeah. Same way you can do.
No, not that text. I'm saying like in the previous whiteboard, there was one example, right, for that button.
We can locate. We can locate. I'll show you.
Yep.
I'll show you how to locate with text and all that. Okay. Now, how to locate? Let's take our example. Okay, I will take this simple text. We will go to Google and try to locate something. Fine. So I will just say npx Cypress open. Okay, so this will open the Cypress editor, the GUI app. Okay, I will start my testing in Chrome. Right. So these are the two files that I have. Let me go to my test, save this. Sorry, just save this. Then come back here. Okay, I will just execute this test one. Right, so it is opening my Google page. This test to be executed on Friday. Yeah, so everything is working fine. So it opened the Google page. Right. So now what I want to do, I want to go to this element. Okay, so this search bar and type something. See, generally in Selenium, what we will do, we will go to the web page, we will try to right click, inspect, locate the element, right? So that is one way. So I can simply, even in this Cypress app, I can able to right click, inspect. Okay, or otherwise what you can do, you can open this web page in a normal browser and you can right click. Suppose I open this google.com. And I can normally right click, inspect, try to locate this, going to my, what is that? This is my XPath, right? And I have a class, so I have a name. We have a lot of things, right? So this is how we can locate. But this is what we do in Selenium, how to locate it. But here in Cypress, you have an easy way how you can locate. What you can do, if I go to my Cypress, there is something called a selector playground. Okay, so you have an inspect kind of button, selector playground. Okay, so you can simply click this and you can locate the element. You see now, suppose I want to this particular element. If I click, it will immediately give me a method. Can you see here? Okay. So cy.get, it will give me a complete code. And can you see here? It says .sdkep. Okay. So now when I see this dot, this represents a class. Okay. That means the class of this search bar is this one, sdkep. Okay. If I see here, suppose if I come here, if you see here, the class, okay, so if I take specifically this specific element, it will have this class. Okay, you can just check that. So now what I can do from the playground, selector playground, I'll get the statement. It also gives me one match. Can you see here? It gives me one match. And what I can do, I can just copy this entire code. I can simply click this copy to clipboard. It have copied, and I can come to my code, and what I can do, I can simply paste it. Right. So I have located this search bar now. So this is my search bar, and I want to type. Now I want to type some value. So generally in Selenium, what we will do, we will use a method called send keys. Right. See, there are two things when you want to interact with an element. The first one is locating an element, and the second one is interacting with that element. After locating, what you're going to do. So we have located the element. Now what I want to do, I want to interact with that element. So I want to type something. So here, if you want to type, we have a method called type. So type, and whatever value you need to give. Let me say Cypress. Right. That's it. Okay. Now what this will do, this will go and type Cypress. After typing Cypress, I need to go to this Google search. Okay. Now let me again same way inspect. I have clicked the selector playground. Let me click this Google search. Now this gives me a CSS locator. Can you see here? So this is the class. From here, go to center, and again there is a class, right? So you can either directly copy this to the clipboard, it will work, or otherwise, if you just click this button, it gives me something called a cy.contains. Right? I can either use cy.get or cy.contains. So suppose if I say cy.contains, what I can do is I can also match with this text. Google search, instead of this hello world, I can just try here only. I can simply use the text Google search, right? Now the moment I type here, it gives me one match. See, you can directly check here. So you don't want to copy this to the code, execute it, get an error, and then you identify as like in Selenium what we do. Right. So here you can save a lot of time. You can play with the selector playground directly, and you can just ensure that whatever locators or whatever selectors that you're going to write is correct. So it gives me exactly one match. So let me try to use this contains method. I'll just copy this to my clipboard. I'll just paste it here. Right. So now after identifying this specific element, what I need to do, this is a button. So I need to perform a click operation. So I will directly say dot click. And it's a method. So always try to use open parenthesis and close parenthesis. That's it. So that's it. Let me save my test. Right. So I have saved my test, and this will not automatically run my test. Let me see. Okay, it will not run my test because last week we have given this watch for file changes false. So it will not run automatically. So I need to run. What I will do, I will just come to my runner, test runner, and I will just refresh my test and see whether this is working. It goes to my Google page and it types Cypress and it clicks. Perfect. Can you see now? Right. This is clear.
Hi, Ravi. Actually, in Expert, we are having some extra functions, right? Like, for example, proceeding, following.
Sorry.
Last. In Expert, we will be having some extra functionalities, right? Like a proceeding, following. Those kind of things, like a first, last, those kind of things.
You are talking about XPath access.
XPath, yeah. So those when we are utilizing those kind of things is like when we are
here we have some methods actually. We have parent method. We have some direct methods here. Okay.
Okay.
Right. See, in Selenium, it is very complicated. So XPath access, if you want to understand all this method, you need to spend one day completely to understand and traversing each and every element. There are plenty of methods following, like there are a lot of methods over there, but here we don't require everything. Try to understand what is CSS selector, right? And we have some powerful methods. I'll show you those methods. That will be more than enough for you to locate the parent and your children.
Okay.
Right. Okay, fine. So is this clear? This is fine? Yes, no?
Yeah, this is clear.
Okay. Now, see here, what we are doing is, and see one more interesting thing. So here, what we are doing, this is one element. This is the search bar where we are trying to locate this element and we are typing Cypress. And in the next element, we are going to click, right? But generally in Google, what we will do, when we go to the Google page, I will type Cypress here and I will press the enter button, right? I don't actually go to Google search and click this. Right. So how to simulate that? See, suppose if I want to press enter button, what I can do, I don't want to even write this code. Right. What I can do is I can comment this. If you want to comment, you can use a single comment, 2// right. And in the same statement where you are typing the Cypress, right. So what you can do in curly braces, okay, after typing Cypress, you can simply say enter. Okay, so this is an action concept, right? You might have heard about actions in Selenium, same concepts to work with user gestures that I will talk separately, but just see here how simple it is, right? The moment you type Cypress, so you will just say enter. So this is BDD style of writing code in Cypress. Okay, see, actually Cypress supports BDD formatting. It's very simple, and anybody, even a layman who doesn't have any idea about what is JavaScript, even they can able to understand the code, right? Even this will also work. You can simply say in curly braces enter, right? And now if I save this and come here and refresh my test, this will also do the same thing. I'll refresh my test run now. See now, it will type and simulate an enter option. It will not go and click. You see now, it gives the same output. Right. So if you look at the test runner again, it is very simple. You can able to get the options here. So how your test is getting executed, you can able to see all that here, and here you will get the actual web page. And so at the top, you can able to understand in which browser you are executing. See, suppose for the next run, if you want to change the browser here itself, you can change, right? So you can change it to some other browser which is there in your system, and if you just refresh, it will rerun. And you can also change the viewport size, right? So you can, if you want the configurations of your screen resolution, how you want when you execute this size. So you can change the viewport size here, whatever you want. And that's it. This is the selector playground. More specifically, we will talk about all that. And whenever your test is getting executed, it will tell how many tests got executed. So here we have only one test case. So that is why it is showing that one test case got executed and no fails. Right. Is this clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So quickly, you just try this. Once you're clear, we will move forward. I'll show you the next examples. Just take a new test and just try all this. Yeah, I'll stop my share. So once you're done, just let me know. Just type in the chat. We'll move forward. Hey, Arati, you have any question?
No, Remy.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, thanks, Arjun. Thanks, Samir. What about others? Any questions? Please let me know. Any questions? Okay. Preeti is done. What about others? Arjun, Divya, Dipo, Srikanth, Ulesh, Sijina.
Done, Rami.
Yeah, done, Rami. Rami, I have one question.
Yes, please.
So this in the last line you use the this CY contains, right?
So this contains actually, Ulesh, we can able to use if there is a unique element, right? If there is a unique text.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so suppose in the entire web page, I have a text called hello. Okay, and I want to interact with that element. See, that could be any element. It could be a button or a link or anything. Suppose if I want to interact, I can say contains. Suppose if the same hello button is there in 2-3 places in the same page, we may not able to use it.
Mm-hmm. So can I call it as an attribute search, or is there any other name
It's
we can
contains.
give?
It's a method. Contains is a method.
Okay.
And you're giving the value of that element. That's it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. There is a unique method in Cypress called as contains. See, as like in Selenium, like how Selenium has its own library, Cypress also has its own rich set of libraries. In that, one method is contains.
Okay.
That's it. Okay, fine. I think when I call out people, they are saying done, done, done. I think I need to call out. Okay, what about others? I hope you're getting. The others are silent listeners. And you are trying out at your end.
I have a doubt.
Yeah, Kavya.
Yeah, how to click a link, hyperlink, how to?
Yeah, we will talk about all that.
Okay.
No worries. Okay, so we have a separate session for link testing, all that. We will try to interact with all the elements and we will try to see all that. Okay, fine. So I'll move ahead. What I will do, I'll quickly share my screen. Just let me know if you can able to see my screen.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so now we know this is going to work and we tried and this is working. Okay, now what I want to do is deliberately I'll make some changes in my locator. Say for example, this is my class name. So I will add something like this. Okay, I added a 1, 2, 3. Now Cypress may not able to locate an element with this class name. So it should fail, right? So let's see whether it is failing. What I will do, I will just save this test. Go to my Cypress runner and let me refresh this. Okay, 1 second. What happened? Okay, 1 second. It came out. I don't know what happened. Okay, let me re-execute it. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so it will run in a CLI mode. Okay, just give me a moment. I'll talk about this separately. Just give me a moment. Okay, I will try to open my Cypress editor. Okay. take some browser, Firefox or Chrome, whatever. I will try to run this. Okay, I have now made the changes to my class. Now this test should fail. Okay, so let's see what is happening. Okay, it is loading. Okay, now it is trying to locate this element. Can you see? And it gives me an error. Okay, so you try to carefully observe this error. It says timed out retrying after 4000 milliseconds, expected to find the element, this element. So, okay, it is trying to locate this element, but never found it because there is no such element with this class. Okay. So now what I'm interested to understand here is how much time Cypress is waiting to locate an element. Okay. When Cypress could not able to locate the element with the selector strategy what you have used, Cypress will wait for a maximum of 4000 milliseconds. This is something which is very, very important that you need to understand. So to locate each and every element, Cypress will wait for a maximum timeout of 4000 milliseconds. That is nothing but 4 seconds. Right. Okay. Now, what I want to do is, I want to change this timeout. Okay. I don't want 4 seconds. I want, say, 5 seconds. So is it possible for me to change it? Yes. We can add a custom timeout. In Cypress, what we can do, we can add a custom timeout at the command level itself. See what I can do. I can go to my script. So this is my script. I can go to my script. The default wait time, as I told you, to locate a specific element in Cypress is 4000 milliseconds. If you want to change it at the command level, what we can do, we can write a code. That means in the same statement, cy.get. So this is the element that I want to locate. So here itself, what I can do is I can add one statement. I can simply say, this is the element inside this only. I will add one more attribute, comma. I will add an attribute like this. I will say timeout. Okay, timeout colon, whatever timeout I want for this statement to run, I will give the timeout. You see now, timeout 5000. Okay, I'm just for this specific statement alone, I want some extra time. You see now how simple it is and how easy it is for me to understand also. Right, I will give this timeout. That's it. Let me save this and simply rerun my test now. Let me go to my runner. Let me rerun my test. Let me rerun my test. Now you see, what is the error coming? Right, timeout retrying after 5000 milliseconds. So this is working. So this is how, what you can do. You can add additional timeout or you can add a timeout at a command level for any statement. See, rest all statements will work for a maximum of 4 seconds. This statement alone will wait for 5 seconds. Is it clear what I'm saying? Yes, no?
Yes. Yeah. So what if I need this, I mean, all my test case should wait for 5 seconds.
That is the global timeout. So that is the global timeout. See, suppose if all the statements or like, if I want to set the same thing at a global level also, I can able to do that. Right. So how to add at a global level? See, I don't want to add here. Okay. I want to add at a global level. If that is the case, then you need to go to the configuration file. So Cypress config. You remember this file? We went last time, right? Last Friday. Okay. You come to this file and add one property, that is, you can simply say what you can do is you can simply add default command type, this one, default command timeout, and here you can specify the timeout. Let's say here I am saying wait for 3000 milliseconds. Now this is the global timeout. So this will be applicable for all statements. Okay, including the statement what we have specified. Let me save this. Okay, now let me come here and let me run this now. Okay, one more catchy point that you need to understand. See, now what I did, I added a global timeout and I also have a custom timeout here. So now how this is going to work? Which one it will take? Whether it will take 3000 milliseconds or it will take 5000 milliseconds, or it will add both the timeout and it will take 5, 6, 7,000 milliseconds. What do you think? Let me run and see. I will save this. Let me come back here and let me rerun. Now it is getting executed. Let's wait for the result. Okay. Now you see now, I don't see the impact. It is running with 5000 milliseconds. That means when you have a global timeout defined and you have a custom timeout for a specific statement, custom timeout will override in Cypress. Right, please make a note. Custom timeout will override. If you want the global timeout to take place, you need to remove this. You need to remove the custom timeout. Now let me save this and rerun my test. Save it, rerun my test. Now you see what happens. Now this will run with the global timeout settings, what we have defined. Can you see now? Right. So now what I can able to understand is, if I go to the settings once again, I see a property default command timeout. By default, if you don't specify this key and value pair, the default command timeout is 4000 milliseconds. That is by default. If you want to change it globally, then you can define this argument and you can provide a value. Okay, so based on the situations and based on your requirements, what you can do, you can change the settings. Is this clear?
Yeah.
Right. Can you quickly try this? You can take the same example. So let's not take any complicated scenario. So we need to understand various concepts, right? So you don't want to write a big code and try all this. You can write just one line of code, try all this, make a note of all the concepts for better understanding in future. That's it, simple. And have this piece of code for your reference. See, whatever we are covering, whatever the demos we are practicing, that will be your notes for this session. Right. Just complete this and let me know. I'll just stop my sharing.
Hello, Remy?
Yeah, Alvin.
Yeah, doesn't this Visual Studio Code show us like if there is any syntax error in what we are typing?
Yeah, automatically it will show you. While typing, is it? Typing you will not get actually, but
No,
during execution it will show you in the log.
Yeah. Yeah, after execution, I'm able to see the syntax error. Like when we are saving the file, it doesn't show any error.
It will not show. It will not show anything.
Okay.
Right. Guys, just complete. I'm just stepping away for 2 minutes. I'll be back. Hey guys, I'm back. Is it done? Any questions? Kavya, Ulesh, Prabhu, Arjun, Divya, Preeti, Rajni, Shijina, Soumya, Sudipta. All good?
Yeah, all good.
Great. You able to do it? Is it working?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ramesh.
Great. Okay. Fine. See now, there is also one more method that is wait. Generally in Selenium we use, right? We'll use something like thread.sleep. So same way, here also we have. Just let me know if you can able to see my screen.
Yes, Ramesh.
Yeah. What I will do. Second. Okay, I'll remove all this. The changes that we have done. We'll have the original class. I don't want this enter. I will press Cypress, type Cypress, and I will click this search button. Okay, and what I will do, I will just go to the configuration file and remove this. Okay, so I want by default to go with 4 seconds. Okay, we understood this. Let me change this. Okay, now come back to our test. Now, what I can do is, whenever you want to introduce a delay, okay, so whenever we make any changes to the Cypress configuration, it will reset actually, right? And again, we need to re-execute it. This will not run. Okay, we have to re-execute. We'll make the changes, re-execute. 1 second. 1 second. I'll save this, re-execute this. Yeah, now this is working. Perfect. Now, suppose if I want to introduce a delay between these two steps, what I can do is I can just add a wait statement. I can simply say cy dot wait. There is a method called wait, and I can just give the timeout, how long I need to wait. Let me say some 3000 milliseconds. See, what this will do is, apart from my global timeout, between statement number 4 and 6, it will, after executing this statement, it will wait for 3 seconds, then it will go and execute this statement. Right. So this also, if you want, you can use. Let me save this and show you here. If I come to my runner and re-execute it, you can see now. It will run. You see now, wait of 3 seconds. It will wait and then it will go and click the search button. Right. See, sometimes what happens, you may have some dynamic objects. Sometimes certain objects will take more time to load due to some inbuilt elements getting loaded, like your JavaScript objects or like any React objects or anything which is running at the background. It will take some time for your object to load. So if you want to wait explicitly, you can use this wait command. Right. So hope all this is good and you can able to try this out. What we will do is we will take a different application now. I'll actually take an Angular based application. So which is, I will take this application. Okay, so I've made a note of this. Okay, so this is a sample application provided by this particular tool, Protractor. Okay, fine. So this is actually a Angular-based application. So I'll tell you why this is an Angular-based application. And see, this application actually gives you some challenges if you try the same thing with Selenium, because it uses some Angular objects. So suppose if you inspect and see, you can able to find, can you see here? As I told you, input, ng model, all these ng related properties will come. So this comes only if it is Angular based application, right? See, normally if you take any web application, you will not get this ng model. So this is an Angular based application. So I'm just taking one such application, and what I want to do is I want to automate a scenario where I want to type some value over here. Let's say in this element, I want to type some value. Okay, see, I'm not going to work with this element. I just want to type some value here. Let's say 2. I want to type some value here 2, and click this go button and see whether I'm just getting a result, something like this. Right, and I want to just check whether this has a value 4. So how to do this? Okay, so let's quickly take a new test. Okay, I will say create a new test. I will go to this E2E folder and right click, create a new file, and I will say locate as dot cy.js. Right. Now I'll try to write the test. Can you just help me out what I can do? What to start with? Anybody? Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly refer my previous test. Okay, I will just take this completely, the base structure, and put it over here. I don't want to re-execute everything. This reference type equal to Cypress. This is something which is important we discussed on day one, which is mainly for code completion, right? And so here I will give a meaningful name. This is locatas demo. Okay, so this is my test case. I'll start with it. I want to go to this URL, that is, this is the URL where I need to go. I'll just give this URL. Right, and rest all things I can't able to use. Let me delete all this. Right, so that's it. Let me save this test and go to my terminal. Let me come here. Oh, okay. This is a new test. It will not work. Okay, again, I need to re-execute it. Let me close this. This I don't need. I'll close this again. I'll open Cypress app again. Okay, so I can able to see all my specs, what we have created. So this is the one which we created just now. I want to execute this, the locatas file. So it is now running. It is trying to load this web page. Yes. So this is opening and I got this, right? And I want to locate this element. As we know, more than getting into the CSS or like inspecting the element manually, I can use the selector playground to locate this element. The very first element that I need to locate is this. Let me click this. It is giving me with the ng model. So you can see it have used attribute selector, this cy.get ng model first, and it gives me one match, so no issues. If it gives multiple matches, then you need to again look for some other property, right? So it is giving me one match, so no issues. Let me copy this to my clipboard. Let me come back to my test and I will say, okay, so this is the element and I want to type some value. I will simply say type and whatever value I need to give, I will simply say 2. Okay, this is the value I need to give. That's it. See, after giving this value, if I go to my app, if I go to my app, okay, after typing this value, maybe I need to wait for some few seconds, then come to this element. What I'll do, I'll simply, for my understanding, I'll just have a wait statement here and I'll just wait for 2 seconds. This is not required actually, it will go very fast, but for me to see in the app whether this is typing the value correctly, so I will just introduce a delay initially. So next I need to go to this next element. Let me try to locate this element. Yes. The only thing is like the value is getting changed. So this is also fine. Let me copy this to my clipboard and come back here, paste it. And I will simply say type or some other value. Let's say again 2. That's it. Right. So after giving this value, next what I need to do, I need to click this go button. Let me inspect this. Okay, so this element has an ID property. That is why it is giving hash go button. Okay, if you normally open this in a web page and if you inspect this, it will have an ID property go button. So it gives in a CSS selector form. So it gives exactly like hash go button. So I can just, it gives me one match, copy it. Right. So hope you're getting what I'm doing. You can able to do it easily. Now what I need to do, I need to go to this blue button and I need to perform a click. Click is a method. So I have to use parentheses. That's it. So after clicking, I'll get a value here. And if you observe, it will take some time, right? So definitely I need to wait for a while. Probably I'll just wait for 2 seconds for the output to get rendered in the application. So I'll simply wait for some 2 seconds. Then I need to check this value. Okay, whatever value I'm going to get, right? And now if I inspect or hit this selector playground, it is giving me cy.get.ng binding. Okay, so I can use this, or probably if I just check with contains, okay, this value is getting changed. So I'm not able to use contains here. I have to use only get, or otherwise I can also say contains. If I want to use contains, what I can do is, let me inspect this element separately. I'll tell you that also. I'll go to my, yeah, this is my super calculator, and let me inspect this element. One second. Yeah, and if I inspect this element, if you see here, so this is the element, right? If you see, I can able to highlight this, which has a h2 tag, and it has a class, right? It has a class equal to ng-binding, right? See, generally, if you have an element with a class, please don't go with the class attribute, because class is not a unique attribute always, right? So generally, if you use class, there could be multiple elements which may have the same class. Okay, if you take an application, any element that has the same look and feel will have same class name, right? So always try to locate with some other object. So what I'm going to do is I will write a unique locator here. I'm not going to use selector playground. I can also write manually like this. I will say cy dot, let's say contains, or like get, you can use any method. And I can say, I will say h2. I will write my CSS selector like this, h2. So this is h2 tag, which has a class equal to ng binding. I will just copy this. I will say c2 in parenthesis, which has a class equal to, I will say it has a value ng binding. This I have copied. Please be very careful when you're typing all this. Even if there is a small mistake, if you leave this hyphen as an underscore, it will not locate the element, right? So that's it. Contains this one. I am just locating the element, and I'm just saying it has a value 4. I need to match it with 4. Okay, so I'm just checking, go to this element and check whether it has a value 4. Right. Okay, that's it. So let me save this, and let me come to my test runner, refresh this and see what happens. Okay, it is typing 2 and it is typing next to. Yeah, I got a value and it contains this one. Right. There's no error. So it checked. So this is working fine. This is clear. Yes, no. Stop my sharing. Right. Yeah. So just try this. So you can able to understand. So once you try this example, I'll give you a slightly complicated or a slightly complex scenario, so which you can try out. So just confirm me whether this is working fine, whether you can able to add 2 numbers. But as of now, you don't want to select that plus button. Just go by the default. So that is a drop down element. Later we will see how to work with drop downs and all the other web elements, how to work with all different types of elements. We will see in the next session. But as of now, you just manipulate the first text box, second text box, click the go button. That is something that you're going to do. Right. Okay, so we'll take 10 minutes to complete this activity. So time is 7:36. So we'll take till 7:45. Okay, 9 minutes will take to complete this. Before that, if you have completed, just type done in the chat box. So I would request everyone to try. So there is nothing rocket science here. So if you are completely new with test automation also, you can learn, right? Even I have learned that way. Nobody have taught me. I have learned on my own. All the examples, whatever I am going to show you, or like whatever I am showing you, are the ones which I have tried. Even with the websites also, I have tried on my own, right? So that is how you can learn automation. So automation is something like which you have to get by practice. Then only you will gain that confidence. If you just watch any training session as like watching a movie in Amazon Prime or Netflix, you will get to understand, but maybe after one day you will forget everything. So that is my experience, right? So any tool, whatever like you want to learn, we have to practice on our own. So you practice, how much ever you practice, that will gain confidence. So tomorrow, when you start working in projects, you will get all scenarios what you have practiced. So somewhere you will get that link. So you will get to understand, oh, okay, this is something that we have tried the other day with that demo site and what we are going to implement now in our project. So when you take up any situation in your project and you try searching internet, nowhere you will get that scenario. So this I'm telling from my practice actually. So from my experience, I'm just telling. Okay, all good. Any questions, anyone? All are in silent mode. Alvin, Prabhu, Divya.
Can you please show that third replicator at H2?
One second. Just let me know if you can able to see. I'll just close or minimize my terminal also.
Hi, Rami. Prabhu here.
Yeah, Prabhu.
That line number 9, that whatever that we are returning it as contains, right? So that's a kind of a validation we are doing, is it? I just missed it. So
it's a simple validation. So we will, I will talk explicitly about assertions more in detail, actually, Prabhu. But as of now, it is just checking whether in this location we have this 4 as the value. That's it, simple.
Okay.
So we will specifically talk about assertions in the next class. I will give you a detailed example with different types of assertions what Cypress supports separately.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Right. Okay, so you complete this by 7:45. You can complete. Maybe you can take a 15 minutes break. Come back at 8 o'clock. So there is a scenario waiting for you. I'll give you the scenario. I'll just give the URL and tell you what you need to do. So you have to complete and share me the code. Yeah. Right. Yes, no. Okay.
Yeah, Rami, we'll meet at 8. Thank you.
Great. Fine then. So you guys can continue. We'll meet at 8 o'clock then with the solution. So whatever you have completed. So we will take I'll give you a different example. So we will try to interact with different elements and see like how we can able to do it. So if you can't able to do it, I'll help you out. The next example. Fine then. So we'll connect at 8 o'clock. Hey, hi guys, I'm back. So any questions? I believe you were able to do it. Any challenges? All good?
Yes, Rami.
Okay, thanks, Udita. What others? Kavya, Prabhu, Srikanth, Arun.
Done, Rami.
Yeah. Sure, thanks. Fine. So now, okay, so I have a good website identified. Just give me a second. Let me share my screen. Just let me know if you can able to see my screen.
Yeah, we can see.
Yeah. So this is one good demo application. Right? And okay. So what I want you to do is maybe you can try this web page. You can go to this URL demo.nopcommerce.com. Right. Once you log into this website, I want to search a product. Right. So the product what I want to search is let's say Apple, MacBook. Yeah. So whatever you see down, right? Okay. So I'll tell you one thing. So you don't want to select anything from the suggestions what is coming here. So that we will see separately. That is a jQuery dropdown. So we will see later how to handle that. But as of now, what I want to do is I want you to type this exactly. Okay, so I want you to search this element, locate it, and I want to type this text, Apple MacBook Pro 13-inch, right? So this is the text I want you to type. And after typing this, I want you to click this search button. This is the next check that you need to do. I want you to locate this search with any locator, whatever we have learned, and click the search button. The moment you click the search button, so you will land in this page. And if you just come down, you will find the add to cart button. Right. I want you to click this button, add to cart. Okay. So it will take you to this page. Now in this page, you already have a quantity too. See, this is something like a real website, right? So this is how generally we will have to work in projects. This is typically how applications will look like, right? So by default, you have a default text here. I want to remove this text and I want to again say 2. Right. So provide quantity 2 on this element, and I want you to click this add to cart button. Next. The moment you click add to cart, in few seconds, you are getting this message. The product has been added to your shopping cart. And if I go up, okay, so this message will go in a while. Once you have added, you will find this shopping cart icon with item 2, because we have added 2 quantities. It will say 2. I want you to click this shopping cart link. Just click that shopping cart link. Okay, so you will get this item here. If you can able to check this total, just check this total, whether it is giving you $3,600. This is the text that I want you to check. You can use the contains method, what we have seen, right? Verify this total amount. That's it. So this is something that I want you to do, a complete business transactions or where you are going to purchase an order. Right? Can you able to try this? If you want, I'll just repeat what exactly you need to do. So just go to this URL, type the text, whatever I said, Apple, MacBook, okay, MacBook, but you type here, don't go and select down because that uses altogether a different logic, which we have not seen, right? So you type this text, even that will work. If you type completely and click on search, it will work. Click this search button after typing. The moment you click the search button, you will land on this page. Just come down, you will find add to cart. Click this add to cart button. Again, in this, you have to just select the quantity, 2 or 3, whatever, and click add to cart. So you will get this shopping cart. Just go to the shopping cart because already I have added, it is showing me 5. Otherwise, it will just show me 3. Okay, the quantity already it was 2 and now I added 3. Okay, so for the first time when you add, it will show you only that quantity. Whatever total is there, you accept that is something what we are expecting and you just check this total. That's it. Just try this. And if you have completed, just type in the chat box, done. So once you all have done, or almost everyone have completed, if in case you need any assistance, I will take the scenario and show you. Fine. Shall we try? Only if you try, you will get the confidence. Yep. Yes. Can I get a yes or no? Sudipta, Kavya, Srikant, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine. Just try. Just start doing it. Slowly, you will gain the confidence. No issues. Just try. If you can't able to do it, I'll help you. Fine. Guys, any questions? Please let me know if you need any help. So I'm assuming everyone are working silently. If in case you face any issues, so please let me know. I'll help you guys. Preeti, Shijina, Soumya, Sudipta, Ulesh, Prabhu, Mary Diana, Namir, Mahendra, Kavya, Jayashree, Ebenezer. All okay? Yes, no? Thanks, Arun. Thanks, Arvind. About others? Okay, Diana, Sudipta. Okay, good. Excellent. We are done. Okay, we'll wait for 5 more minutes for people to complete. Okay, so I can see quite a few of people have completed. Anybody needs any assistance? You want me to take this up and show you? How this works? Or is it fine? Shall we move on? So you have to let me know. So if you want me to explain this quickly, I can do that, or otherwise we can move ahead. So please let me know.
Please show, maybe we can compare with our code.
Okay, fine. So I'll show you. Okay, so I'll just share my screen. Just give me a second. Just let me know if you can able to see my screen.
Yeah, we can see.
Yeah, I'll quickly take a new test. I'll name this as, let's say, locators one.cy.js. Oops. cy.js. Okay, I'll altogether take a new file. What I'll do, I'll just copy this logic. Just give me a second. Okay. Fine. So I will take my URL. This I don't want. I'll just delete all this. I will take the URL what we are referring. That is, this is the URL. I'll give the URL. Okay. So now what we will do, I will quickly save this. I'll take a new terminal. Just a second. I'll take my terminal. I'll just take my terminal. X. Okay, I'll start my test. Just give me a sec. One moment. I think my Chrome is not responding. Just a second. Just to start with Firefox. Okay, so I will just run this because I want to have this web page in my runner. Okay, so I can able to locate things quite easily. Now I'll use my selector playground, and this is the search bar. I will just try to locate. I can now able to see this search bar has an ID. So you can see here it starts with hash. So, and it gives me one match. I'll just copy this. Right. I will come to my code. I will simply say cy.get. This is something where I need to type. Okay. So I need to type in that search bar. I will just type whatever I said, Apple, let's say MacBook Pro 13-inch. This is something that I want you to type. Right. So now after typing, what I want to do, I want to click the search bar. Let me inspect this. Okay, so it is giving me a search bar. Okay, small search item form, and from there I have a button. Okay, now either I can use this or otherwise I'll see whether it gives me any unique locator. One sec, let me try that out. I'll come here, I'll click on search. So you can see in either ways. Okay, so now if I see here, it has a search box button. Okay, so this element has two classes. One is button one and search box button. I think this probably it will be unique. I'll take this part and I will write a unique code and see whether this is working. Okay, mostly this should work. We will check. What I will do, I will simply say cy.get, and I will just paste this, whatever I got. This is a class name, so always put a dot. If it is a class name, so always put a dot. That's it. So now what I need to do, I need to perform a click. Click. Okay, so I'm not very sure whether this is going to work. Let me check. Let me save my test. And what we will do, we will come here and re-execute it. Now let's see whether this is working. Yes, it is typing. Yes, it clicked the search button. Okay. So now I got the search button. So now what I need to do, I need to just come down, add to cart. This is the next button that I need to inspect. Let me come down and click on this add to cart button. Okay, so this is giving me a unique class. Fine. So then I'll just go with it. I'll just copy this. I'll just say product. This is a unique class I can able to see. And here I need to just perform a click. This also I need to click. So I will simply say go and click. That means it will go and click this card. Okay, so let me save this, refresh this and see whether it is clicking. Right. Yeah. So I can able to see it went and clicked. Now if I see here, yeah, I can now able to see it is giving me this element. Let me now inspect this element. One sec. Yeah, this is this element. Let me inspect here. Yeah, so this element, if you see, it has an ID. That is what I can see here, which has a unique ID and it finds one match. Let me copy this and I'll just go here. Okay, now there is a catch here. What I need to do, this element already has some value, right? So now what I need to do, what I told you, we need to just clear this value and then we need to type the new value. Okay, I have to go to this element and there is a method. If I put a dot, there is a method called clear, right? I can use this method. If there is any existing value, what it will do, it will clear. So since it's a method, use parenthesis, right? Then what I have to do, so then I have to type my new value. So if I want to type, I can simply say type and whatever value, so 2 or 3, whatever you want, you can type. That's it, right? So after this, I need to click on this add to cart button. Let me click this. Yeah, this element also has a unique ID. So I will just copy this. So you see how easy it is when you compare with Selenium. In Selenium, you need to go and inspect manually. You need to know about XPath. There are a lot of things that you need to remember. Here, most of the things you can do with your selector playground functionality itself. Right. So I can just go to this element. Now I need to perform again a click operation. So let me say click. That's it. So this will go and click this element. Okay. Now let's run this and see. I'll just save this, refresh my test runner and see whether this is getting executed. Fine, all good. Yeah, I can now able to see the product has been added to your shopping cart. All right, so now if I come here, I can able to see the shopping cart link over here. Okay, so now I have to wait for some time. So because that pop-up comes and it goes automatically after a few seconds. So I need to wait for some time. So then only I can able to get this shopping cart link. Excuse me. So what I can do, I can simply introduce a delay. I can just wait for some time. Let me say some 6,000 milliseconds, 6 seconds. Let me wait. If you want, you can just reduce it according to your according to this element getting displayed. Okay. So now what I can do, I can just inspect this element, shopping cart. Yeah. So this is the link that we need to click. Yeah, I can now able to see this also holds a unique class, which it gives me a match. a single match. Let me copy this and again paste it. And I need to perform a click operation. That's it. Okay, so now it will go and click this shopping cart. So let's check this once again. I'll just refresh it and see it is clicking the shopping cart. Right. So this pop-up comes. Yep. Yeah. So the time is sufficient for me. Okay, 1 second. Okay, it is still waiting, I think. Just give me a moment. Yes, I think. Let me rerun my test. I think something happened. I'll just rerun. Yeah. So now it is clicking and yeah, I can now able to see my shopping cart. So, and I need to validate this total, right? So let me check this total. Yeah. So here also this total has a class, unique class, which has a product subtotal. Let me copy this. And finally, I'll also introduce one more delay for safer side because it takes some time for me to open up the shopping cart. I will just wait for some 5 seconds or 6 seconds. Then let me paste it. And here is where I need to check. And I need to check this value. So I can simply use a contains method, whether it contains this specific text, right? I can, again, it's a string, whatever text that I want to check. That is $3,600, right? And again, there is a .00. This is something that I need to check. All right, that's it. Let me save this and run my test. This is my overall scenario. Right, it waits for 6 seconds. Yeah. Yeah, it is checking now the total. Perfect. Can you see now? It went and checked everything. It contains 3600. That's that. There is one error. Okay, this is not an error actually. Okay, so an exception in the return. Actually, this is not an error. Okay, everything is working fine. So this is what something that I wanted you to work. But when you looked at the requirement, it felt like there was something huge that we need to do. But when you look at the script, what we have created, we just added just 10 to 12 lines. That's it. Right. This is clear. All good. Yes, no. So just compare with the script what you have created. And just let me know whether this is something you have created or like you have created in a different way. Yes. Janamir, Kavya. Is it the same thing that you have done or you have tried in a different way?
Yes, I used to enjoy the pattern.
Okay. Okay.
Then I have selected link instead of add to cart button.
Okay. 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 So don't try anything like what we have not discussed. So I'll give you only the examples what we have tried, and If there is anything that is something new, so that I will give you for you to just think of, like the clear method, what we have used. Right.
Yeah.
I'll not give you something which is completely out of blue moon, which we have not discussed. Don't worry about like working with all the elements like link or like buttons or like what is that, drop downs, check boxes, radio buttons, all this we will see. So we will see in the subsequent sessions. So you don't want to worry about that. Right. Okay. So what you can do, so just practice. There is also something else that I wanted to talk. You can also try this web page. 1 second, I'll just show you. So maybe once you complete this, you can also practice this. I'll just let me know if you can able to see my screen.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can also try source demo. This is also a good website. Okay, so this is also a simple website. So wherein like so you can just try. This is a demo website. If you just go to this source demo, they are giving some username. You can just try the standard user as the username. You can try the secret sauce as the password. Right, and you can just try automating this login page. Right. So there are plenty of other functionalities. There are quite a few powerful methods in Cypress using which you can try to locate your elements quite easily. Right. So those methods I will talk in the next class. So this alone you can just automate. Maybe you can just try this and just give me the solution. Okay, so if in case you have any issues or anything, so you can just share the solutions with me, right? So if you face any issues anytime, so please let me know. So we'll make this session more interactive and useful to you. That is the main intention over here, right? So if you feel like you're going quite fast or like quite slow or like anything, any kind of feedback, please let me know. So we can able to take it up and we can manage our sessions accordingly. Right. So I wanted you to just automate this also. And with that, we will close for today. And in the next session, so there are more things that are coming up with locators itself. So we will talk about different ways of filtering. There are many things that real life scenarios wherein like we will get such requirements many times, and we will always struggle like how easily we can identify this. I'll give you some tips and tricks that we can use in Cypress, right, and locate the elements. Then accordingly we will move forward and try to interact with different we will learn how to work with different web APIs and interact with different elements, and we will take it forward. Right, so you can just note down this web page also. This is again a good website for learning Cypress. Right, so you can just try out the different usernames. You can take the standard user and secret sauce and just see whether excuse me, whether you can able to automate login page. Right. So any other questions if you guys have, we can take it up, or otherwise we will see in the next session. Any questions, any concerns, or any doubts with whatever we have discussed in this 2 days? If you have any questions, please let me know. Or anything like on the feedback front, if you want to say something also, please let me know. So do you find this session useful? You're getting something? Yes, no?
Yes.
Mary, we could not hear you. Your voice is very feeble, actually.
Can you hear me? No?
Yes, I can now hear you, Mary.
Okay. Yeah, earlier I was on speakers. Yeah. Yeah, this is useful. We are trying in the parallel, so that might be the reason many of you us are not responding, but we are learning it. Yeah, it's helpful.
Good.
Currently, the pace is also fine for me. Maybe in the future sessions, I don't know, because the basic I have already, so that might be the reason I'm able to follow now.
Okay.
I'm not sure about others.
Okay. So anything, please stop me. And again, see, we don't want to go in a hurry-burry mode. That is what I told you already also. So you don't want to try parallelly that what I'm doing. I'll give you enough time. Okay. So that is how a programming session should go, right? So whenever I show something, just listen, just try to understand the concept, because there will be certain things which I will talk about a specific command which you may miss out. Right. See, tomorrow again, like a similar kind of functionality comes, you may not able to relate exactly to use that specific method. See, as of now, we talked only about get and click. That's it. But moving forward, we will talk about a lot of methods. Right. So a lot of powerful methods which are unique to Cypress. Right. So because Cypress uses a complete rich set of jQuery library, so there are plenty of methods using which what you can do, you can write your code quite easily in a BDD style. Right. So first, try to understand or just listen what I'm telling, and you stop me if in case you want to try the same thing again. So you let me know. I will give you time. You don't want to try parallelly. Please do that.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Mary. Okay. Any other questions? Anyone? Any other feedback? Let's get to hear from people. Kavya, anything you would like to share? How is the session going?
Yeah, it's very useful and easy to understand.
Okay. You were able to try out all the examples we discussed? Right.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kavya. Prabhu.
Yes, for me, it's going good so far. We are trying to concentrate in the late evenings of IST timings.
That is what the main concern here is, right? At times I feel whether people are actually listening or not, whether they are out of their system. People are not talking. That is the main concern, right? Okay. So as we all are stressing out, right? Even out of our working hours, and so the main concern here is we want to get that productivity out of it, right? So we have already spent 6 hours extended for 2 days, and so it should be useful. So you should have got something at least by now. So even we could not able to do it individually on a complete scenario, at least by seeing the Cypress code, you should be able to understand, oh, okay, this method is going to do this, this method is going to do this. Right. Yeah.
So far things are okay. I hope things would be fine going forward as well.
But practice is much required actually, Prabhu, for any automation training. If I show something that will look very easy, but when I give you a scenario and you want to try out, you will think, hey, what method I should use. You will again go back to the old example and you will see all that. So that confidence will come only if we take up multiple scenarios and practice.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Prabhu. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, thanks. Namir.
Yes, Rami, I have the same feedback. It's all so far. It's all good. I'm also able to understand.
Excellent.
And do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Shijina. Sina is there. Okay, Ulesh.
Yeah, Rami. So far it's good.
Thank you so much. All good. You were able to practice.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. So if we don't have any questions, I don't want to waste much of your time. So you can drop off, and again we'll connect in the next session, right? So we will look into more interesting features, and again there are much more good things to come, right? Thank you so much. Thanks everyone.
Thank you, Rami. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.